and welcome to my kitchen, and welcome to my very first video. I've been wanting to try making videos for a while, but I didn't have time. Now that we're staying at home, I have a lot more time on my hands, and I thought I would give making a video, cooking video, a try. So today I decided to start with my kitchen BFF. The Instant Pot is one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. I've had my Instant Pot for over 5 years now, and I actually bought it because my favorite slow cooker died, and when I was doing all my research I realized the Instant Pot could slow cook or it could pressure cook, and I thought that was a really neat trick. And the funny thing is, I've actually never used it to slow cook. The pressure cooker is so great at speeding up so many recipes and kitchen tasks. It's a real workhorse in the kitchen. So today I thought we would talk about making stock, chicken stock, in the Instant Pot, because it is one of my favorite things to do with the Instant Pot for a lot of reasons. And I'm just going to walk you through how I make my stock, some tricks I have for making stock pretty easy, and we're gonna do it today. So the first thing you need obviously is a pressure cooker. Instant Pot, probably any pressure cooker brand would do. Now when it comes to stock making, there is a fancy French way of making stock where you blanch the bones for a little while to get rid of impurities, and a very specific methodology, a sachet that you stuff with all kinds of fun stuff to give your stock flavor. We're not going to do that today because most people aren't working in a French restaurant or going to culinary school, and really what we're trying to do is create a really flavorful stock, a flavorful liquid for cooking soups, sauces, and that sort of thing. So we're gonna throw out all of my culinary school knowledge out the window, and we're just gonna do what I do. So my first trick is that I'm a creep and I have a bag of bones in my fridge, my freezer actually. I have a Ziploc bag that whenever I'm butchering chicken, or if I've boiled some chicken or poached some chicken and took the chicken off the bone, or if I had a rotisserie chicken that I bought at the grocery store and I took all that meat off the bone, put the bones in the bone bag and put it in my freezer. So that is my first trick. And my second trick's in the freezer too. I'm gonna go get those and bring them back. My two tricks. So the first one we talked about, creepy bone bag, but this is really great. The other thing for this bag, which I love when I can get them, are chicken wing tips. So when you want to make chicken wings, get the whole wing that's connected, cut them apart yourself, and you end up with that little wing tip. That's awesome. It's full of collagen, and it makes your broth really nice and thick and rich because of all that collagen in the wing tip. So we have our bones. The other thing that I have is vegetable scrap bag. So whenever I'm prepping, I'm always perfect with this. Sometimes I do throw my scraps away. But I do, so you can see this is full, this is chock full, so we definitely need to make stock today, of carrot peels, tops, onion skins, the little pieces of onions that are really frustrating and sort of get in your way. I just scrape those off to the side. Pretty much anything in here that you'd use in your basic mirepoix. So peppers, garlic stubs, onions. If you had used some thyme, fresh thyme, and you took that off, you could put the stems in here. The things I would not put in here are anything that has a really strong flavor. So a Brussels sprout trimming, not going to put it in here. Broccoli trimmings, not going to put it in here. We're really looking for those things that you would typically find in a mirepoix or a stock. I think I even have in here some pieces of zucchini and summer squash they just have a lot of water and a little bit of flavor, but aren't going to overpower anything. And so that's what we're going to use for our stock in our Instant Pot. And it's really, really easy, and the reason I love this is it's super, super easy. I'm going to start by putting the bones in the Instant Pot. They might not all fit. I want to get enough vegetables in here, so I might end up with 2 batches, but I think I want more bones than vegetables because this is going to be the base. And I actually think I also have some pork bones in here because I did some butchering of some pork chops and I just tossed them in here. They're pretty neutral. I wouldn't probably put a beef bone in here, but pork bones will work. So kind of just get that going. I think I might be able to fit this all, but we'll put some veg in here. And again, we're just going to pour some of the stuff out. A little bit more in here. Alright, so we're pretty full. And I'm going to go and fill this up with water. So there's a line on your Instant Pot. That's a max fill line, and that's what I will try to fill this up to. When I get back, I might be able to put a few more things in. So I'm not going to fill it all the way to the max, but pretty close to see if I can fit some more stock ingredients in. So I'm going to go and get my water. I'll be right back. Alright, so I'm just below that max fill line, and like I said, I wanted to try to maybe get more stuff in here. Probably can get the rest of the bone bag in here, and a few more veg. So that's what we're gonna do, because I want it to be super flavorful and as good as it can be. Just get as much stuff in there. Now the other thing, if you had some herbs, some like parsley stems, I know I have some of that stuff in here, so I'm not going to worry about it. But if you do have some of that, go ahead and toss that in as well. Alright, I think we're good. Alright, so I have a little bit more in my vegetable bag. We'll put that back in the freezer for another time. Now, this is really easy. Now, the Instant Pot is known for speed. This one is going to take a couple of hours, which, a couple hours, you think Instant Pot should be fast, but that is really fast. Normally a chicken stock, if you're cooking it kind of on the stovetop at a simmer, it's going to take 6 to 8 hours. This will take 2, and then we'll put some time in to sort of let the pressure come down. So maybe 2.5 hours before we're ready to strain this stock. So, you know, you need a little bit of time, but it's set it and forget it, and a lot quicker than a normal stock recipe. So let's go ahead, and I only ever use the manual button. Because all these other buttons I just don't want to learn. I know how manual works, it's just the pressure cook. I do use saute, and like I said, if I slow cooked, I'd probably use a slow cooker, but I've never used that. And I think this only goes up to 120, and that's it. This will come to pressure, and then we'll have our 2 hours, and then probably 20 to 30 minutes on letting it come down to pressure on its own. And once that's complete, we'll come back and we'll strain it, and I'll show you how easy and awesome this stock looks. Alright, so we're back. We're about 3 hours later. Our stock, ooh, I burnt myself. Our stock has cooked for about 2 hours, so it took about a half hour to come up to pressure, and then it cooked for 2 hours, and then I let it sit to come under pressure. So when the stock, or when anything in the Instant Pot is cooked, after the pressure cooking, it needs to sort of reduce that pressure. And so normally you would sort of flip this little valve here and steam would come up. But for a big pot of stock or soup, I like to let that happen naturally, because when you flip this switch when there's a lot of liquid in there, it takes a really long time, and oftentimes you'll get a little bit of gunk coming up through the valve. So when there's a lot of liquid in here, I tend to try to let this come down naturally, and that's what I did with the stock. So I flipped this thing, you can see that there's no more steam, the pressure's gone. So we're gonna open the pot. And you'll see here, when you open the pot, I'm gonna put it over here, that we have all our stuff in here that looks cooked and has given all of its flavor to the stock. So the next thing we need to do is strain this stock. Now, a few things that I have here to make this easier. I have some oven mitts because this is really hot. These are probably going to get wet. You're going to have to toss them in the laundry because this is never sort of super clean process with liquid getting onto these. The other thing is I like to use fine mesh sieve over a very large bowl. This will ensure that all the liquid goes into the bowl. Now this is not going to fit every piece of solid that comes from the Instant Pot. So what I'm going to do is be pretty slow and try to mostly just get the liquid, but stuff's going to fall into the sieve. So we have that there. I like the sieve because it's got these two little, not hooks, but these two little platform things that will sit on the bowl and make that easy for me to do this on my own. And then finally, I'm going to end up pouring into this container. It's a large plastic food grade container that I will be able to put in the fridge eventually. And then we'll get to see what the stock looks like from there. Another thing about this particular bowl that I love is that there's a little like pouring divot here, so it will help me to pour the eventual stock in here without making a giant mess. If you don't have a bowl like that, you'll just have to take it slow, and I'll recommend pouring this into the container where it's going to be stored over a sink. So let's try this. We got our stock here. I'm going to move the Instant Pot out a little bit of the way. And I'm just going to, like I said, these are just going to get dirty, and I'm not going to really worry about it. But it's a little bit heavy, so I'm just going to very sort of calmly, see, not too much of the vegetable scraps or bones are falling out. But you know, a few will, especially if you're trying to get all of the liquid. Just gonna take a quick minute, quick second. And now that it's lighter, it's easier to kind of like take from the bottom, which is gonna make this a little bit easier. And be really careful, the steam is very hot. So just take your time with it. One thing I forgot to mention as far as sort of if you don't have a bone bag in your freezer, if you don't tend to butcher your own beef or butcher your own meat, butcher your own chicken, and you don't have those, what I think is a really good solution is, I said the wing tips, right? So if you're going to have chicken wings, get the whole wings and then cut those little tips off and keep those aside. But also drumsticks. Chicken drumsticks are great because they are on sale a lot, they're very inexpensive, and they're super flavorful. So sometimes I like to buy a big party pack when they're on sale and then break them up into sizes. I have a few recipes I like to use with chicken drumsticks, but also they're really great for tossing in the stock pot, so you could have stock whenever you want it. All right. So that's done, and then we're going to pour this in here, and you can see one thing that I like about saving the kitchen scraps, especially shallot and onion skins, as you'll see they give a really nice color to the end broth. And here we go. And there's our stock. Another reason I really love the Instant Pot for stock is obviously the condensed timeline, but it makes a really nice amount. When I used to make stock in a large stock pot, it'd be huge. I would end up with so much stock. It was hard to cool down. This makes enough for a really nice sized soup and then leftover for a sauce, or you know, you can make a couple soups with this, gravy, that type of thing. You can also, if you don't really have a use for it immediately, pour this into freezer safe containers and freeze it so that you always have really good stock on hand. So that's it. I'm gonna let this cool at room temperature for a while so that when I put it in the fridge, it doesn't bring down the temperature of my fridge. I will probably also give this an ice bath. So I'll put it in my sink with some ice and some water and kind of stir it around to help it come down to temperature quicker before putting that into my fridge. But this is it. This is stock. I'm going to make some soup next week with this stock, which I will put the recipe on my blog. But for now, I'm just going to bring it down. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching my first video. More will be coming out as soon as I learn more on editing, and thank you.